All right, what is up, everybody? Happy April. The card of the month for April is 10 the Wheel. So, this is similar to the Wheel of Fortune in traditional tarot. I like it in Wildwood Tarot because it's represented with all of these, all the different seasons in the card, and also night and day, and it kind of just shows the cyclical nature of reality. In traditional tarot, the Wheel of Fortune is kind of about getting good fortune, and in this deck, in my understanding, it's more about just understanding these cycles and learning to use cycles in your favor. And with that being said, we're going to get into the rune, and the rune is Elaz. I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly, but I'm doing my best. And it literally means elk. The esoteric concept of it is protection or higher self. And it is the rune of the essential link or connection with the pattern of divine or archetypal consciousness, such as the Valkyrie. It is also the rune of possible danger of realizing this link when unprepared. So, kind of how you hear about people having these spiritual emergencies, much like myself. Um, had I had a stronger foundation and understanding of some of these concepts when that occurred, it might not have been so damaging. But sometimes in our culture specifically, people really seek to achieve this connection without maybe understanding some of the deeper implications of it, and it can be destructive. But this is really about protection and the higher self. So, dependent upon where you're at, you can be protected through all of this. So, the psi element of it is divinity, higher self, the state of listening. The energy aspect of it is like a protective teaching force, the divine plan, Valkyries, mundane, protection, safety, spirituality. And the divination of it is connection with the gods, awakening a higher life, protection. It could also mean, this is kind of the reverse meaning of it, hidden danger, consumption by divine forces, loss of the divine link, and fear. And it governs strengthening of personal gravity or luck and life force through courageous deeds, mystical and religious communication with non-human sentient beings, communication with other worlds, protection, defense, receiving instruction on the magical potential of the runes, banishing the fear of death. And that's something that Gordon White talks about in Chaos Protocols, is becoming invincible. And to me, in my own personal journey, having that kind of moment of becoming invincible, and not in the sense that this terrestrial body is invincible, but my soul is invincible, has been a very liberating experience. So on a soul level, we're always kind of protected. It's just this physical body that can be put into compromising and sometimes dangerous or deadly situations. So we still need to be mindful of that. Now, as far as the Tao Oracle card, going back into first off, let me go back to this. So this rune protection is coming up after feeling the insecurity of last month. Now we kind of feel protected, and we have a higher sense of self if we did the work. So that's kind of the wheel turning in our favor and getting this new opportunity. That being said, although this is like the beginning of spring, there's also this decrease element that comes up in the Tao Oracle, and that's a decline, cutting back, frugality, contraction, letting go, less is more, resourcefulness, and a sacrifice. So just because the weather's nice, or nicer theoretically, this is pre-recorded, so it's yet to be determined. It doesn't mean that we need to go all out and kind of go willy-nilly. Sometimes our lives are so full and so busy that we forget to kind of just rest and rejuvenate and relax. And to me, this decrease is kind of talking about that. And it could be, decrease doesn't necessarily even have to be action. It could be decreasing inaction. Look at your life and find the one thing that you've been doing maybe a little too much of, and cut back on that, and begin to supplement something a little bit different. And now moving into the Rumi Oracle card, Dawn. Its breezes swim with musk. Wake up, breathe in this fragrance. So to me, especially with the higher self rune, it's talking about kind of having this awakening. So we're always kind of in this rush to get to this awakening, to do this with our new knowledge, to go on to this new horizon. And when you actually really breathe in and connect, part of this whole journey of waking up your spirit is just being present in the moment and being grateful for today. And it's not to say that we don't need to accomplish things, because we do, but we don't need to be so busy trying to accomplish and saving the world that we kind of lose sense of ourselves. And this is something that I have really struggled with at times with doing the Spiritual Phoenix podcast and kind of all of the work that I've been doing. Is at times I forget to take care of myself because I'm so busy. So just breathe this in. Like right now I got this banging lemongrass incense burning, and it smells great. It's very calming. It's very relaxing. The weather's a little bit warmer, but it's rainy today. Like there's this beautiful kind of bubbly exuberance in life right now, and I can just enjoy that. And I don't need to be rushed to complete this video or rushed to do the next thing that I need to do. I can just kind of enjoy where I'm at. Let's just take a moment, for real. Just take a moment and breathe in. Doesn't that feel nice? All right, we're going to get to the next card. So you have the Three of Stones, and this is kind of about counsel and relationships and communication. So stones are all about emotions, and to me this is kind of having this emotional conversation with yourself. This card to me also kind of represents like guides, in the sense that there's this little lemur amongst them, in the middle of them, and I like to picture myself as kind of the little lemur, like kind of neurotic and reactionary, and the guides are kind of these wise men sitting around me and discussing things. And there's this beautiful landscape of kind of this greenish blue. So green is relative to the heart chakra, and then the blue is kind of the turquoise throat chakra. And it's this communication of heart with this animal instinct infused through these guides to give me this clear understanding. And sometimes we need to cut off some of our own chatter. I know for me at times what I thought was my guides are kind of direction from source, or whatever you want to call it, was really kind of impulse and self-will, and beginning to kind of understand the difference between the two, and really knowing what's what in your own personal life can give you a way different experience, and a way better one, when you can kind of slow down and breathe in this fragrance. But yeah, just take some time and tap into your guides. It's saying that this is a good time. And if you don't think you have guides, or you don't know how to access them, start by asking questions. Just calm your mind and ask a question and see what comes up. And you might be surprised. Like, it's not some huge complicated process. And I was kind of surprised. The biggest thing about it really is shutting off your internal dialogue, in the sense of rationalizing and reasoning what you're hearing away as just yourself, or it's just your imagination. Those are kind of things that our culture conditions us to believe, so we are not able to make the most of our experience. The next thing that comes up is the Queen of Bows, who is Mother Crow. So this card really is kind of about doing shadow work, I would say. Shadow work might be something that I'm overly obsessed with, in the way that some people are to love and light. But I find that there's a lot of virtue in it. But I guess tying it into decrease, I'll say that I'm wrong and say maybe we need to decrease the shadow work. Maybe we've been focusing so much on the dark stuff that we need to focus more on the light. And that's really difficult for me to say, because I'm really comfortable in doing shadow work, and I'm not kind of comfortable enjoying things. Something I'm working on. But maybe that's kind of where the wheel is taking us. If you're like me, where shadow work's more easily done than the other stuff, decrease whatever is more comfortable for you. So if you're used to doing shadow work like me, decrease that. Kind of do more. I don't want to say light working, but focus on the good stuff a little bit more. And if you're used to doing kind of working on the pleasant, happy things, work on the unpleasant stuff. It's okay to switch it up and kind of find the beauty in that too. Because until you can find the beauty in your suffering and the beauty in your joy, you're kind of missing a key part of experience. And that's not to glorify suffering, this, that, or the other. Some people are going to get it and some people aren't. And I guess that most of my message is for people that understand and get where I'm coming from. It's not from a nefarious place. And anybody who has listened to my podcast or understand me knows that I have good intentions and I have the purest heart that I can at this time of my life. But there is kind of a gift in wading through your own bullshit, I guess is how I'll put it. And the next card is the Nine of Bows. So bows are all about swords, or there are about swords in this deck, but swords are about thoughts. So this card to me really is kind of like loss of faith, and it really speaks to fear. And tying it into this rune, as kind of one of the opposite meanings of it was fear, but there's also this sense of protection. So if you feel disconnected from your higher power or disconnected from kind of the abundance of the universe, recognize that that is your mind playing tricks on you. The universe is reaching out to you and it wants to help you, but you have to be brave enough to take its hand and move forward with it. And substitute God or whatever you need to for universe as well, your higher power, whatever you want to call it. So if you've been feeling separated from that, understand that there's this transition taking place. The main concept in this whole reading for me and this whole month is going to be the wheel. Everything is contingent upon the wheel, and we have to understand that the wheel is kind of about these cycles. So no matter what you're going through, good, bad, or indifferent, it will pass. So there's this whole point in kind of finding the beauty in the moment that you really enjoy and holding on to it. Remembering that what is difficult or uncomfortable isn't always going to be that way, but there might be some kind of gift that you're overlooking in the circumstance that you can miss out on. And if you're indifferent, understand that you're not always going to be indifferent, that you can be rekindled and resparked. There's been so many times in my life where I kind of thought I'd never get over it, I would never feel this way, I'd never do that again. And it's not true, but the more that I tell myself that, the more I ingrain myself in it. So just be ready for things to change. The difficulties will pass and the good things aren't always going to be there. And with that, love and light. Peace.